Good afternoon, folks. It is approximately 7:14, approximately. Sun's going down behind me today, so it won't be in my eyes. Father's thought of everything. I'm in the center picnic table at a park. Some birds, some bugs. Vermont flannel. Crazy, yeah. A little bit different today. I need the word. Since I've started this, I haven't been to a point where I'm like, yeah, I need to read the Bible. But like any of you drug users out there, you know that like, oh, I need a cigarette, I need a beer, I need a whatever it is. I need the word. Let that be your need. Let that be your necessity. Okay. Oh, Father Yahweh, put your words in my mouth. Let me be your vessel that you speak through. And get what you need out of this. Let the people get what they need, and fill me up with your Ruach HaKodesh through the reading of the word, that I may be ever sharper in your truth. And that the people watching this, or at least someone, will find their solace in your word and not in a substance, in a chemical. In Yeshua's name, amen. You know, the power of prayer too. So like, if you guys are out there and you're like, oh, I need a prayer for something, put it in the comments. That way I can pray it. And two, like, if you're a viewer and you pray with me, then you'll have, like, we amplify the prayer. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prayer train. And things can get embarrassing too, so if you don't want to put them in the comments, my email address is in the description. dylanbibles@gmail.com. Real simple, real easy. I don't like to complicate things. I want people to be able to get a hold of me. And yeah, praise Yah. Okay. Coffee on the right, water on the left. As I'm talking about not needing substances, and then I'm drinking coffee at 7:15 p.m. Tomorrow we're going to do an early one. Tomorrow I have an oil change, and so while we're oil changing, we're going to read the word. And we'll let them call me when they're done, and we'll see who's done first. Probably not even going to guess. Not a gambling man as of late. Today is day 156. 2 Chronicles 23 to 24 and John 15. If you haven't figured it out yet, like, this is also day 157 of the year, so you can chronicle how many days of the year. Not that it really matters, but you know, I remember when I was a kid, I used to count down the days to the end of the school year, like starting in the first day. I'd like open up my folder, assuming that the folder made it all year, once I started buying like $2 folders instead of the 5-cent ones. And I'd just make like 180. I'd write like 180, 179, 178. And then some years I'd do tallies, but the tallies were harder because I had to cross them off every day. But like, I could remember the last day that I did it if I just said, like, you know, if it was 178 and I was like, oh, now it's 173, and I did that last Friday. So, but this is keeping track of the entirety of the stick. going to use that. Chapter 23, 2 Chronicles. In the 7th year, Jehoiada strengthened himself and made a covenant with the commanders of hundreds, Azariah, son of Jeroham, and Yishmael, son of Jehohanan, and Azaryahu, son of Obed, and Maaseyahu, son of Adayahu, and Elishaphat, son of Zikri. And they went about through Yehuda and gathered the Levites from all the cities of Yehuda and the chiefs of the fathers of Yisrael, and they came to Jerusalem. And all the assembly made a covenant with the sovereign in the house of Elohim. And he said to them, See, the son of the sovereign is to reign, as Yahuwah has said of the sons of Dawid. This is what you do. 1/3 of you entering on the Sabbath, of the priests and the Levites, gatekeepers of the thresholds, and 1/3 are at the sovereign's house, and 1/3 at the gate of the foundation, while all the people are in the courtyards of the house of Yahuwah. And let no one come into the house of Yahuwah except the priests and those of the Levites who serve. They go in, for they are set apart. But all the people are to guard the charge of Yahuwah. And the Levites shall surround the sovereign on all sides, every man with his weapons in hand. And whoever comes into the house, let him be put to death, and be with the sovereign when he comes in and when he goes out. And the Levites and all Yehuda did according to all that Jehoiada the priest commanded. And each man took his men who were to come in on the Sabbath with those going out on the Sabbath. For Jehoiada the priest did not dismiss the divisions. And Jehoiada the priest gave to the commanders of hundreds the spears and large and small shields which had been sovereign Dawid's that were in the house of Elohim. And he set all the people, every man with his weapon in hand, from the right side of the house to the left side of the house, along by the slaughter place and by the house, all around the sovereigns. How's it going? It's a beautiful dog. Was that a lab?
No, it's 8 years old, right? It's just people think it's a
Oh, okay.
pup.
It's a pup,
It's
yeah.
a mix with the Chihuahua and the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, very
Cool.
good dog.
Short tail, yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy your walk.
Have a great day. Enjoy.
You too. You ever read the Bible?
Huh?
You ever read the Bible?
No.
No? Okay. It's a good read.
It is.
Cool.
But it's deep. You can understand a lot of things.
You do. Well, if you're on YouTube, you can follow me. I'm making a video right now.
Nice.
Yeah. Are you on YouTube?
No.
Okay. Well,
Sometimes.
okay.
What's your name?
Dylan.
Dylan?
Dylan. Dylan. You come back, I'll give you the... Dylan?
Yeah, his name is Dylan too. Funny, right?
No way.
But another spelled, my daughter put his name.
How do you spell it?
D-Y-L-L-E.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, she was little when she put her name.
Okay.
But you call him Dylan.
Okay.
Well, Dylan, I don't forget your name for sure.
Yeah, that'll be easy. Cool. Well, Dylan Bibles is the YouTube,
All right,
if you ever get on there.
Are
Where?
you a Christian?
Yeah, I don't like that term because, like, if in Acts 11:26, when that term is first used, it's by the Greek people. God didn't create that term. The word Christ is nowhere in the Old Testament. But you could consider me a Christian. Yeah, you follow. I follow.
We're not Catholic.
So,
It's still Christian now sometimes, because I'm from Brazil. Just when you call Christian, we immediately go to the Pope idea that the Christians are not only Catholics, right?
Correct. Yeah, Catholic is a sect of Christianity. Right. So it's like Christianity is the big one, and then there's Catholic, there's Baptist, there's Protestant.
Okay, so
You know what I mean?
what's your
So I'm a little different. I keep the whole Bible. So like I do all the Jew stuff too, like the Passover, the Sabbath. I wear what are called tzitzit.
I saw you. I thought you just. I didn't see the kippah.
Because that's not in the Bible.
Right. But they use because I do a lot of I work for FedEx and I do a lot of delivery of Stanford, and they have the camp for girls and boys, the Jewish I forget the name.
Okay.
And I saw the Jewish little guys, the guys with the kippah.
Yarmulke.
What they call this?
Yarmulke.
Yarmulke.
Yeah. What's your name?
Marcelo.
Marcelo?
Yeah,
Dylan, obviously.
Hi, Dylan.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So yeah, those are called yarmulkes. Those are something that's in the Talmud. And it's interesting because if you've ever seen like a Christian pray, right? Like you end up with, like they take their hats off when they pray or when they're in church.
Right. In respect of
Yeah, and the Jews put the hat on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so
but I think the symbolism is a little different, right? For the what they make stuff.
Yeah, they're covering the bald spot.
Right.
No, so
that's for energy or something like that, or just that's a culture for.
I honestly don't understand. I don't know.
Because Jewish they use hat too, the Orthodox what they call Orthodox.
Oh
Jewish.
yeah, they've got the big caps.
Right, and then they
And the
no, but they
beard.
use hats.
Yeah.
I see the people in New York, all the black.
Yeah.
All dressed in black,
You're
beard,
right.
big beard.
Different
All
than
the
the
kids,
yarmulke.
huh?
Different than the yarmulke. Different hat. Yeah.
They're like very restricted Jewish,
Yeah.
right?
Orthodox. They call
Orthodox.
it. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what their reason is, but I do know that like in the back half of the Bible, Paul. You familiar with Paul, the Apostle Paul?
No, I never read too much. You know, we just like I never follow a religion that literally read them in books. We have a lot of some spiritual things in Brazil that I follow when I was young more.
Okay.
And there's so many things. I think I believe in everything that brings peace for people.
Yeah.
That's my main thing. But I agree with you. We have to study the classic to understand the whole complex about religion. And I never put myself deep too much on those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I should, because I think it's very interesting. History, not only just.
Yeah, there's a lot of history in here. I mean, this book has been used for centuries as far as like war tactics.
There's two different Bibles.
This is the Christian Bible, you know. Like the Bible is the Old Testament and the New Testament. Right. The Jews do the Old Testament. The Christians say they do the New Testament, but it's one book. And then you've got different, you know, like the Quran is for the Muslims, and then like the Hindus, I don't even know what they call it. You know, there's how many?
Dylan, let's see. I have something that I cook in my car. I've got to go home and then.
You're good, man.
I'm gonna see you in YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have your phone?
Yeah.
Dylan Bibles.
Because we can't talk. I don't know if we can exchange stuff more.
My email's right on there, but I can give you my phone number too.
So you always here?
No, I go to different parks.
Okay.
Different times, and you know.
Right. So YouTube, right?
Yeah.
I don't have YouTube. I think I took, but I'm gonna put your text message or phone.
Yeah.
Better, right?
Yeah, I'll put it in there.
And then I'm calling. Let's see.
Beautiful.
I call him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Save my number. So we talk more. I think it's just everything is for a reason.
Definitely.
Right. And then one more question: why you decided to record and put it on YouTube?
So, about a year ago, I owned a pizzeria, and I made a video saying that I was going to start like reading the Bible.
Right.
And because I think that everybody needs to know it. Like, I see what it's done for my life, and how my life has changed in the past 2 years of having come back to God. And so
we have one more thing in common. I had a restaurant for years straight. All my family is restaurant people in Brazil. I grew up with them making food, eating food, different cultures. There's Lebanese in part of my family, Italian, Portuguese. It's a huge mix, and want to say I have pizzerias and I had a restaurant for almost 13 years. And then I love food. And I went to culinary school.
Did you?
Here in the United States.
Okay. I started making pizzas when I was 16, and I just worked my way up.
Love it.
You know, school of hard knocks. You know.
I really want to talk to you more.
Yeah,
really.
Definitely.
Right.
Get finished. Don't burn the slice.
I appreciate it.
Have
Nice
a
to meet
You as well, Marcella. Okay. We left off on verse 11. As I said, meet everybody that you can. And they brought out the son of the sovereign, and put on him the diadem and the witness, and set him up to reign. Then Jehoiada and his sons anointed him, and said, Let the sovereign live. And Athaliah heard the noise of the people running and praising the sovereign. And she came to the people in the house of Yahuwah, and looked and saw the sovereign standing by his column at the entrance. And the chiefs and the trumpeters were beside the sovereign, and all the people of the land rejoicing and blowing trumpets. Also the singers with the instruments of song, and those who led in praise. Then Athaliah tore her garments and said, Treason, treason. And Jehoiada the priest brought out the commanders of hundreds, who were set over the army, and said to them, Take her outside the ranks, and slay with the sword whoever follows her. For the priest said, Do not kill her in the house of Yahuwah. So they laid hands on her, and she went by way of the entrance of the horse gate into the sovereign's house, and they put her to death there. Jehoiada then made a covenant between himself and the people, and the sovereign to be the people of Yahuwah. And the people went to the house of Baal and broke it down. They completely broke up its slaughter places and images, and killed Matan, the priest of Baal, before the slaughter places. And Jehoiada put the offices of the house of Yahuwah into the hand of the priests, the Levites, whom David had assigned in the house of Yahuwah to offer the ascending offerings of Yahuwah, as it is written in the Torah of Moshe, with rejoicing and with singing by the hands of David. And he set the gatekeepers at the gates of the house of Yahuwah, so that no one who was in any way unclean should enter. And he took the commanders of hundreds and the nobles and the governors of the people, and all the people of the land, and brought the sovereign down from the house of Yahuwah. And they went through the upper gate to the sovereign's house, and set the sovereign on the throne of the reign. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city had rest, for they had slain Athaliah with the sword. Athaliah was the mother of Azayahu, and she's now getting smoked. She's now getting whacked. Jehoiada is the priest. Daughter of sovereign Jehoram. And Joash is the one who's supposed to be taking over here. Jehoiada, the priest, gave to the commanders of hundreds the spears and the large and small shields which had been sovereign David's that were in the house of Elohim. And he set all the people, every man with his weapon, in his hand from the right side of the house to the left side of the house, along by the slaughter place, and by the house all around the sovereign. And they brought out the son of the sovereign, and put on him the diadem and the witness, and set him up to reign. Then Jehoiada and his sons anointed him, and said, Let the sovereign live. And Athaliah, so basically they're making Jehoiada the priest, the king right now, because they need a king, and he's in charge. And Athaliah hears the noise of the people running and praising the sovereign, and she came to the people in the house of Yahuwah, and looked and saw the sovereign standing by his columns at the entrance. And the chiefs and the trumpeters were besides the sovereign and all the people of the land, rejoicing and blowing trumpets, also the singers with instruments of song, and those who led in praise. Then Athaliah tore her garments and said, Treason, treason. Yehoiada finally gets to whack her. But he doesn't do it in the house of Yahweh because she's not a sacrifice. She is dirty to be a sacrifice. And he sets up some Levites to rule, as it is written in the Torah of Moshe. How are we supposed to get our information? From the Torah of Moshe. With rejoicing and singing by the hands of Dawid. Pretty straightforward. Change in leadership. We might come back to this. Athaliah slain with the sword. She sounds like a witch, and she also sounds like Isabel. She reminds me of Isabel. Chapter 24. Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years in Jerusalem. And the name of his mother was Sibia of Beersheba. And Joash did what was right in the eyes of Yahuwah all the days of Jehoiada, the priest. And Jehoiada took for him 2 wives, and he brought forth sons and daughters. And after this it came to be that Joash set his heart on restoring the house of Yahuwah. And he gathered the priests and the Levites, and said to them, Go out to the cities of Yehuda, and gather from all Yisrael silver to repair the house of your Elohim from year to year, and see that you hurry the matter. But the Levites did not hurry it. And the sovereign called Jehoiada the chief, and said to him, Why have you not required the Levites to bring in from Yehuda and from Jerusalem the levy of Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, and of the assembly of Israel, for the tent of the witness? For the sons of Athaliah, that wrong woman, had broken into the house of Elohim, and had also prepared all the set-apart vessels of the house of Yahuwah to the Baals. So the sovereign commanded, and they made a chest, and set it outside at the gate of the house of Yahuwah, and made it known in Yehuda and in Jerusalem to bring to Yahuwah the levy that Moshe the servant of Elohim had imposed on Israel in the wilderness. And all the rulers and all the people rejoiced, and they brought in and put them into the chest to completion. And it came to be, at that time, when the chest was brought to the sovereign's official by the hand of the Levites, and when they saw that there was much silver, that the sovereign scribe and the high priest's officers came and emptied the chest, and took it, and returned it to its place. So they did day by day, and gathered a large amount of silver. And the sovereign and Jehoiada gave it to those who did the work of the service of the house of Yahuwah, and they hired stonemasons and carpenters to restore the house of Yahuwah, and also those who worked in iron and bronze to repair the house of Yahuwah. And the workmen labored, and the work of restoration progressed in their hands. And they established the house of Elohim to its proper form and strengthened it. And when they had finished, they brought the rest of the silver before the sovereign and Jehoiada, and they made utensils from it for the house of Yahuwah, utensils for serving and offering, ladles and vessels of gold and silver. And they offered ascending offerings in the house of Yahuwah continually all the days of Jehoiada. And Jehoiada was old and satisfied with days, and died, 130 years old when he died. And they buried him in the city of Dawid among the sovereigns of Israel, for he had done good in Israel, both toward Elohim and his house. And after the death of Jehoiada, the rulers of Yehuda came and bowed themselves to the sovereign, and the sovereign listened to them. And they forsook the house of Yahuwah, Elohim of their fathers, and served the Asherim and the idols. And wrath came upon Yehuda and Jerusalem because of their trespass. And he sent prophets to them to bring them back to Yahuwah, and they witnessed against them, but they did not listen. Then the spirit of Elohim came upon Zechariah, son of Jehoiada the priest, who stood above the people, and said to them, Thus said Elohim, Why are you transgressing the commands of Yahuwah, and do not prosper? Because you have forsaken Yahuwah, he has forsaken you. And they conspired against him. And at the command of the sovereign, they stoned him with stones in the courtyard of the house of Yahuwah. Thus Joash the sovereign did not remember the loving commitment which Jehoiada his father had done to him, and killed his son. And as he died, he said, Yahuwah does see and repay. And it came to be, at the turn of the year, that the army of Aram came up against him, and they came into Yehuda and Jerusalem, and destroyed all the rulers of the people from among the people, and sent all their spoil to the sovereign of Dharmasek. For the army of Aram came with few men, but Yahuwah gave a great army into their hands, because they had forsaken Yahuwah, Elohim of their fathers. So they executed judgment against Joash. And when they had withdrawn from him, they left him very sick. His own servants conspired against him because of the blood of the sons of Jehoiada, the priest, and killed him on his bed. And he died, and they buried him in the city of David. But they did not bury him in the burial sites of the sovereigns. And these are the ones who conspired against him: Zabad, the son of Shemath, the Ammonitess, and Jehozabad, the son of Shimrath, the Moabitess. As to his sons and the many words about him, and the rebuilding of the house of Elohim, see, they are written in the commentary of the books of the sovereigns, and Amatyahu his son reigned in his place. Water. And this is when Joash, the son of Ahaziah, who was hidden from Athaliah, and Jehoiada reigns in his place. And Athaliah is slain with the sword. There's a lot of evil mothers in here. Man, and they ain't nothing. Ain't nobody respecting them. Ain't nobody coming for them. Ain't nobody doing nothing. Like, they're there to be, like, they're out of line. Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign. Joash did what was right in the eyes of Yahuwah all the days of Jehoiada the priest, who is 130 years old when he dies. And we don't know how old he is when he begins to reign. Jehoiada, being the priest, just crushes it, knocks it out the park, and then he becomes the counselor to Joash and not the men of Ahab, which is awesome. Jehoiada took for him 2 wives and brought forth sons and daughters. After this, it came to be that Joash set his heart on restoring the house of Yahuwah. And because at some point, somebody starts taking the silver and gold from the house of Yahuwah. Don't know who it is. Alright, we're going to hang on to that for now. Go out to the cities of Yehuda and gather from all Yisrael silver to repair the house of your Elohim from year to year, and see that you hurry the matter. But the Levites did not hurry it. That's interesting. And the sovereign called to Jehoiada the chief and said, why have you not required the Levites to bring in from Yehuda and from Jerusalem the levy of Moshe, the servants of Yahuwah, and of the assembly of Yisrael for the tent of the witness? For the sons of Athaliah, that wrong woman, had broken into the house of Elohim, and had also prepared all the set-apart vessels of the house of Yahuwah to the Baals. So they just set it up for false gods. Sovereign commanded, and they made a chest and set it outside the gate of the house of Yahuwah. So they're not even collecting the 10% at this point. They're not collecting the levy of Moshe. Whatever exactly the portion is of that, whether it's the 10% for Yah or I guess that would be it, right? There's a portion that goes to the Levites, but I think that general, the levy of Moshe would probably be us 10%. And they're not even collecting it. So the sovereign commanded, and they made a chest and set it outside the gate. They made it known to Yehuda and in Jerusalem to bring to Yahweh the levy that Moshe, the servant of Elohim, had imposed on Yisrael in the wilderness. And all the rulers and all the people rejoiced, and they brought in and put them into the chest to completion. And that's an important verse, 24:10, because people are happy to give. They're like, yeah, and I think that we'd see the same here if taxes weren't 68%. I'm in New York, check it. But the people are like, yeah, this 10% will do good for us and for the house of Yahweh. And when the chest was brought up to the sovereign's official by the hands of the Levites, and when they saw that there was much silver, that the sovereign scribe and the high priest officer came and emptied the chest and took it and returned it to its place. So they did this day by day and gathered a large amount of silver. So this chest is full every day. And the sovereign and Yehoiada gave it to those who did the work of the service of the house of Yahweh. A workman is worth his hire. And they hired stonemasons and carpenters to restore the house of Yahweh, and also those who worked in iron and bronze to repair the house of Yahweh. And the workmen labored, and the work of restoration progressed in their hands, and they established the house of Elohim to its proper form and strengthened it. And when they had finished, they brought the rest of the silver before the sovereign and Yehoiada, who were working together, and they made utensils from it for the house of Yahweh, utensils for serving and offering, ladles and vessels of gold and silver. And they offered ascending offerings in the house of Yahweh continually all the days of Yehoiada. I will tell you that what I want is getting in the way of Yahweh. And I don't know how to fix this. I'm putting myself before Yahweh. And I want to publicly request that the prayer that I fix that. Yehoiada was old and satisfied with days and died, 130 years old when he died. And they buried him in the city of David among the sovereigns. This guy lives 130 years. What happened to the 120 years? Well, he was important to Yah. And so after the priest dies, Yehoiada, Joash is the sovereign. And the rulers of Yehuda came and bowed themselves down to the sovereign, and the sovereign listened to them. And they forsook the house of Yahweh, Elohim of their fathers, and served the Asherim and the idols. And wrath came upon Yehuda and Jerusalem because of their trespass. And so this is interesting because they're forsaking Yahweh immediately. They just, out of nowhere, decide that the Asherim are going to be their new gods, and it's just like immediately it has to be their own greed, because the rulers of Yehuda just immediately come over, plead to the sovereign, and say, hey, you've been building this house of Yahweh, we should stop that because we've got these gods here. And it's like, nobody cares about those gods, but the people were happy to give to the house of Yahweh, and now they end up with these Asherim and idols, and they start bowing to them. And he sent prophets to them to bring them back to Yahweh, and they witnessed against them, but they did not listen. Then the spirit of Elohim came upon Zechariah, son of Yehoiada the priest, who stood above the people, and said to them, thus said Elohim, why are you transgressing the command of Yahweh? So the prophet comes back, and do not prosper, because you have forsaken Yahweh, he has forsaken you. So the prophet comes and says, what's going on? He gets the word from Yahweh. Thus Joash the sovereign did not remember the loving commitment which Jehoiada his father had done to him, and killed his son. And as he died, he said, Yahweh does see and repay. It came to be at the turn of the year that the army of Aram came up against him, and they came into Yehuda and Jerusalem and destroyed all the rulers of the people from among the people, sent all their spoil to the sovereign of Darmasek. For the army of Aram came with few men, but Yahweh gave a very great army into their hands. So we saw in, was it 19? It wasn't 19. 20? We saw in 20 the how quickly Elohim can give a army into the hands of Judah, and then we see in 24 how quickly the army of Judah can be given into the hands of another because of their obedience or disobedience and calling upon his name. The blood of the sons of Yehoiada the priest, and killed him on his bed, and he died. And you guys got more dogs than people there. When they had withdrawn from him, for they left him very sick. His own servants conspired against him because of the blood of the sons of Yehoiada the priest. Joash gets smoked. And these are the ones who conspired against him. Again, interestingly enough, we've got the mother's lineage being given for Zabad and Jehozabad, and to his sons, and the many words about him, and the rebuilding of the house of Elohim, see they are written in the commentary of the books of the sovereigns, and Amatyahu his son reigned in his place. Chapter 24. Pretty basic. We'll bang out 25 tomorrow. But for now, we're going into John 15, so says the sheet. Okay. Chapter's not incredibly long, and let's see how many hours it takes us to decipher it. Because Yeshua talks in parables, and we all need critical thinking in this day of AI. You saw when I was with Jonathan what happened with AI. Who knew better, me or AI? And obviously the answer was Yahweh, which the AI doesn't have, and so I do. So praise Yahweh. And we bow to Master Yeshua, Mr. Jesus. John 15. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. Every branch in me that bears no fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, so that it bears more fruit. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. Stay in me, and I stay in you. As the branch is unable to bear fruit of itself unless it stays in the vine, so neither you unless you stay in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who stays in me, and I in him, he bears much fruit. Because without me, you are able to do naught. If anyone does not stay in me, he is thrown away as a branch and dries up, and they gather them and throw them into the fire, and they are burned. If you stay in me, and my words stay in you, you shall ask whatever you wish, and it shall be done for you. In this my Father is esteemed, so that you bear much fruit, and you shall be my taught ones. As the Father has loved me, I also loved you. Stay in my love. If you guard my commands, you shall stay in my love, even as I have guarded my Father's commands, and stay in his love. These words I have spoken to you, so that my joy might be in you, so that your joy might be complete. This is my command, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, that one should lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. No longer do I call you servants, For a servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends. For all teachings which I have heard from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you, and appointed you, that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, so that whenever you ask the Father in my name, he might give you. These words I commanded you, so that you love one another. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love its own. But because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, for that reason the world hates you. Remember the word that I said to you. A servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they shall persecute you too. If they have guarded my word, they shall guard yours too. But all this they shall do to you because of my name, because they do not know him who sent me. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would have no sin, but now they have no excuse for their sin. He who hates me hates my Father as well. If I did not do among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin. But now they have both seen and have hated both me and my Father. But that the word might be filled which was written in their Torah, they hated me without a cause. And when the Helper comes, whom I shall send to you from the Father, the Spirit of the truth, who comes from the Father, he shall bear witness of me. But you also bear witness of me, because you have been with me from the beginning. Okay. Whew. That is like dense. Short as it is, just like, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. Every branch in me that bears no fruit, he takes away, and every branch that bears more fruit, he prunes, so that it bears more fruit. Every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, so that it bears more fruit. So, any gardeners here know that if you cut the leaves off the bottom of like a tomato plant, it'll focus more on the fruit. You don't need the leaves unless they've got the flowers to bud, and you're trying to get the fruit out of the plant. So Yeshua is the true vine. My Father is the gardener. Every branch in me that bears no fruit, he takes away. Cut the bottom leaves off. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes so that it bears more fruit. So, okay. So, I'm just thinking cannabis here, because I used to grow a lot of cannabis. And I haven't grown tomatoes in quite a few years. And so I think it's the same with, I mean, obviously it's the same with tomato plants, but and this is why I know, as I started the prayer in the beginning, that anybody who uses drugs can switch to the word as their fill, because I've done it. So the tomato plants have like water leaves, sugar leaves, and basically they're not going to flower. So you can cut them and get rid of them. And then the branches that will vine out and have like say 6, like on a cherry tomato, they usually grow in like 6 or 12. And so you'll have the vine with the 6. And if you cut the vine before it bears the fruit, then you can split it. And now you've got 2 places to bear fruit from. Here and here. Verse 3, you are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. You know what you need to do, and if you do it, then that will keep you clean. Stay in me, and I stay in you. As the branch is unable to bear fruit of itself unless it stays in the vine, so neither you unless you stay in me. So like if you cut the if you cut it off too short and you don't allow it to regrow, and if you take it away instead of pruning it, then you lose the ability to have the fruit from the vine. So neither you unless you stay in me. So if you separate yourself from Yeshua, then you lose the fruit of the vine. I am the vine, and you are the branches. He who stays in me, and I in him, he bears much fruit. Yahuwah. Because without me, you are able to do naught. Thank you. If you're working my will and you don't have me, it's just not going to work out for you. And I know this too. There's times where like I'll unrighteously go to talk to people about Jesus, and like I don't have, the words don't come out of me. And so there's an example of that. If anyone does not stay in me, he is thrown away as a branch and dries up, and they gather them and throw them into the fire, and they are burned. They gather them. The wheat and the chaff. The farmers. If you stay in me, and my words stay in you, you shall ask whatever you wish, and it shall be done for you. It's pretty much the same as yesterday. Taking possession of the word and the commands of Elohim, and stay in me and my words stay in you. You shall ask whatever you wish, and it shall be done for you. Sorry, I'm distracted by people talking. I don't know if you can hear them in the background, but they're just chit-chattering, and so I've got that going in here, and then I'm trying to speak, and I'm trying to listen to Yah, and so, but they're done now. Praise Yahweh. So, and it shall be done for you. In this my Father is esteemed, that you bear much fruit, and you shall be my taught ones. Not everybody that you talk to is going to be responsive. Some people want to talk, some people don't want to talk. Some people need you to literally interject yourself into their conversation, and then they're going to look at you like they're rude. And it's not about Yah at that point, it's about them and their attention, and that is a spirit that we don't play with, because we worship Yahweh, and these people want to be worshipped. And so we rebuke them in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. And so fortunately, you saw me look up and, ask Yahweh for help. And he sent another person to interject in their conversation and disrupt them. And then that parted their spirit. So always call on the Father for help. If you stay in me and my words stay in you, you shall ask whatever you wish, and it shall be done for you. In this my Father is esteemed, that you bear much fruit, and you shall be my taught ones. As the Father has loved me, I have also loved you. Stay in my love, and you shall be my taught ones. He's taking possession of you, that you bear much fruit. As the Father has loved me, I have also loved you. Stay in my love. If you guard my commands, you shall stay in my love, even as I have guarded my Father's command and stay in his love. Okay, so Yeshua is loved by the Father because he does what the Father tells him to do. We will be loved by Yeshua if we do what Yeshua tells us to do. And so Yeshua is our intercessor, our middleman. Yah loves Yeshua, Yeshua loves us. We're going to get into 1 Corinthians 15. I want to say 28. And when all are made subject to him, then the Son himself shall also be subject to him who put all under him, in order that Elohim be all in all. For he has put all under his feet, but when he says all are put under him, it is clear that he who put all under him is accepted. Because that explained it, right? The second the verse before it, and then the second made everything more understandable, right? Otherwise, what shall they do who are immersed for the dead, if the dead are not raised at all? Why indeed are they immersed for the dead? And why do we stand in danger every hour? I affirm by the boasting in you, which I have in Messiah Yeshua our Master, I die day by day. If, as men do, I have fought with beasts at Ephesus, of what good is it to me, if the dead are not raised? Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we die. Do not be led astray. Evil company corrupts good habits. We're gonna look at Isaiah real quick. 22:13. And then 56:1 as well. 56:12. Let's go to 22:13. Isaiah's getting a good amount of play here, but not nearly enough credit. Then see, joy and gladness, killing oxen and slaying sheep, eating meat and drinking wine. Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we die. And it was revealed in my hearing by Yahuwah of hosts, for this crookedness shall certainly not be pardoned until you die, said the Master Yahuwah of hosts. I want to get more context here. And you dug a ditch between the two walls for the water of the old pool, but you have not looked to its maker, nor have you seen him who fashioned it long ago. And in that day the Master Yahuwah of hosts called for weeping and for mourning, for baldness and for girding with sackcloth. I just wanted to see, because sometimes you get surprised as far as the righteousness in doing things that might not traditionally seem righteous, and then you might see also this kind of happy-go-lucky attitude backfire on Israel. Let's start at verse 8 and 56. The Master Yahuwah, who gathers the outcasts of Israel, declares, I gather still others to him, besides those who are gathered to him. All you beasts of the field, come to devour, all you beasts in the forest. His watchmen are blind, all of them, they have not known. All of them are dumb dogs, unable to bark, dreaming, lying down, loving to slumber. As I'm literally thinking, I'm tired as crap. And I did some stuff today, but I've only been up for 12 hours, and I'm drinking coffee at 8 o'clock at night. So, loving to slumber. I love to work, but I also love to rejuvenate. Just as I started this too, so I'm kind of walking through my need for the word today as well, which you guys get to witness. And look at that corona behind me. It is gorgeous. It's just peering through the trees. Yahweh knows how to make a setting. And I think the fact that the camera's focused on me is illuminating the halo in the background, which isn't quite a halo. It's like a tree watching over, the branches there, and then the reflection, the light coming through. Watch over me, Yeshua, because I'm pissing Dad off lately. And the dogs have a strong appetite. They never have enough, and they are shepherds. They have not known understanding. All of them look to their own way, every one for his own gain, for his own end, saying, Come, let me bring wine and fill ourselves with strong drink, and tomorrow shall be as today, even much greater. I think we need a lot more context there. And however, they do, you know, it does seem to be associated with, let us eat and drink for tomorrow we die. It seems to be an association with greed. Okay, because we're all up over Corinthians. Up all over Corinthians. Got some pollen. Cool. Sorry, I had to move off camera and fix myself real quick. Because humility, and I'm getting bug bites and whatever. Yeah, well, you're worth it. Abusing the crap out of me. Okay. Father has loved me, I also love you, so stay in my love. If you guard my commands, you shall stay in my love. How do we stay in Yeshua's love? Guard my commands. How did he stay in the Father's love? Guard the Father's commands. Even as I have guarded my Father's commands and stay in his love. These words I have spoken to you, so that my joy might be in you, and that your joy might be complete. And this is where I'm having trouble, is that a lot of the things that he's having me do right now I'm not enjoying, and that's fine, but like I haven't really been joyous in quite a bit. And so while I am necessarily happier time to time, I think that I am in a season of, you know, like you ever watch a boxing fight where, like, you know, sometimes you're on offense and sometimes you're on defense? Well, sometimes there's been times in the last 6 months where it just feels like I'm just getting pummeled in the face. And there's been a lot of times in the 6 months where I felt like I'm out there just slaying for the nation, for the kingdom. Probably the times that I'm slaying for the nation is the times that he's not happy with me. That my joy might be complete. Let's all pray for our joy to be complete. By Yeshua's joy being in us. Verse 12, this is my command, that you love one another as I have loved you. Does Yeshua, like, say everything and everybody's acceptable? No, he rebukes the crap out of so many people. He teaches them how to better keep the Torah, how to do what is right and good in the eyes of the Father. No one has greater love than this, that one should lay down his life for his friends. So, basically, that's what Yeshua does. I mean, I've heard that so many times by so many different people, different ways, and people have joined the army based on that, and I'm just like, okay, you know, like Yeshua goes through the I wanted to say presses, but it's not the trials. Yeshua goes through the paces, exhibiting this, literally laying down his life for his friends. And, you know, we've got a phrase today that, you know, I would die for that person. And so a lot of people have taken the, well, would you live for them? It's like, okay. And I think that that's what we're supposed to do, more than just dying for them, because that's simple enough, being a martyr. But that doesn't happen regularly, and then you don't get to enjoy your time with them, so you lose the joy in that. No one has greater love than this, that one should lay down his life for his friends. And so you end up living for your friends. So having the life that is required of you for the betterment of the lives of those around you. And this is also servitude. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. I read this at a Rev Shabbat dinner one time. What are the commands? As Yeshua has commanded us. If you do whatever I command you. Which goes back to verse 8, and basically taking the possession of the responsibility for Yeshua's word to be executed, as opposed to just being all willy-nilly. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. That's how we stay in his love. No longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing. But I have called you friends, for all teachings which I heard from my Father I have made known to you. Praise Yah for the Gospels, right? Yeah. We are now friends of Yeshua. He walks with us. No longer do I call you servants. Friends of the King. He is our King. We're going to come back on this. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he might give you. This is that calling that we have to serve Yeshua. And man, sometimes do some of us bite off more than we can chew? We do. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he might give you. Continually, how do we get blessed? Ask in Yeshua's name. Do in Yeshua's name. Do exactly what Yeshua taught us. Do exactly how Yeshua told it to us. And so that's why we need to know this word. We need to read this word. We need to be in this word. We need to study this word. We need to live this word, so that we know what Yeshua has asked of us, so that we can stay in the will of the Father. These words I command you, so that you love one another. This is my command, that you love one another as I have loved you. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. Don't worry about it, because they ain't going to do to me what they did to you. They hated me. Expect to be hated, but you'll know that you're doing right if the world hates you. And I actually was thinking about this the other day, actually this morning. There were tree guys taking down a tree next to my house, and they had, I don't know, they just had this, like, they were being kind of like, how is it said in Ephesians? Coarse language, I think it is. Coarse jesting, foolish talking. Yeah, basically, which, I mean, I don't know the exact, we'll go through that, but they just were using, like, they were using derogatory terms toward each other, and I just had this, like, I just don't like that, because it's just a negativity that, like, you don't realize how much, like, you chip away at a stone, you know, every day, and eventually the stone's gonna break, or you're gonna, you know, leave a mark on it, like the hardest stones. So I don't like that. But there was an element until, like, I'll usually just throw up like a praise Yahuwah. Like, if somebody's doing something that, like, I don't like and I know it goes against Yah, I will just scream praise Yahuwah and get those spirits away. They all know Yah. And this is all spirit. Like, we are physical beings. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So none of this matters without the spirit. Like, the spirit is the source of all of this. So what we can see is physical, but what we can feel and how we exist is spiritual. So it's all literally like spirit based. And so when you call upon the name of Yahweh, there's no spirit, there's no energy force that can conquer Yahweh. There's no greater one. Or Yeshua, for that matter, because he rules the heavens and the earth, and the enemy only rules the earth. If you were of the world would love its own. But because you are not of the world, but I choose you out of the world, for that reason the world hates you. I mean, pretty self-explanatory. Reread that if you gotta. Remember the word that I said to you. A servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they shall persecute you too. If they have guarded my word, they would guard yours too. Yeah, I mean, this is, if we're going to have the same word, Yeshua's words, our words, this is a lot like 14. If anyone loves me, he shall guard my word, and my Father shall love him, and we shall come to him and make our stay with him. He who does not love me does not guard my words, and the word which you hear is not mine, but of the Father who sent me. These words I have spoken to you while still with you, but the Helper, the set-apart Spirit, whom the Father shall send in my name, he shall teach you all and remind you of all that I said to you. That's, how our word is Yeshua's words. But all this they shall do to you because of my name, because they do not obey him who sent me. So they're going to hate you. They're going to persecute you. There might be a time where you have to lay down your life because of the persecution of Yeshua, because you're repping Yeshua, and the world doesn't like that. 22, if I had not come and spoken to them, they would have no sin. But now they have no excuse for their sin. And so, this is the level of accountability. Once you know, you're responsible for it. You did not choose me, but I chose you. But now they have no excuse for their sin. I've showed them how to be. They know how to be. That's why a lot of people are so afraid of the word. Why people won't engage in it, because they know that they just won't have the how do you say? They won't have the motivation, the ambition to be responsible for the word and the will of the Father, basically laying down one's life for another and taking ownership of the guarding of the words, right? So they don't want to guard anything. There's no level of accountability in their life. They're not generally responsible people, and they just don't want it, and they don't want to do it. And so, yeah, that's why a lot of people stay out of the word, because it's dangerous. And then you're held responsible. And now you have sin. Now you're, going to be held accountable to your sin because you have taken on the responsibility of this word, of the Father's commands. And Yeshua made their sin known to them. So, he who hates me hates my Father as well. You get looks sometimes where people are like, this guy's of Yeshua, and so it does. You can just see that you're making them accountable because you're doing what the Father expects. They themselves now have to do what the Father expects because the presence is there and the judgment is before them and the example has been set. It's you can't, if your boss comes and does something, you can't do it a different way now that you've watched him do this. You know what I mean? So, if I did not do among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin. But now they have both seen and have both hated me and my Father. But that the word might be filled, which was written in their Torah, they hated me without a cause. So pretty much just as I explained it, if I did not do among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin. Because they're seeing it, they see it, and they hate the Father, they hate me, and therefore they hate the Father. That's sin. I do want to go to Psalm 35 and 69 apparently, which we did way earlier in these Bible readings if you've been following along, and I also made it into a short, so yeah. I wonder how many Psalms we do in a day on Bible reading. It's gonna be Psalm 28 to 44. And then Psalm 119, it's just one, it's that's it because it's 6 pages long. It's Psalm 19. Psalm 119 is 2 separate days. I'm looking at 22 and I'm going to 35. Going the wrong way. And so, Park is popping right now. Park has been popping all night. Okay, 35:4, but you know how much we love reading the Psalms here. 35:19, totally lied. So we're going to read the Psalm. Keeping in mind that the word might be filled, which is written in the Torah, they hated me without cause. And this is about seeing the... Praise Yah. Boy, they pulled up at the right time, huh? Good people doing good things. Okay. All right, Psalm 35. O Yahuwah, strive with those who strive with me. Fight against those who fight against me. Take hold of shield and armor, and rise for my help. And draw out spear and lance to meet those who pursue me. Say to my life, I am your deliverance. Let those be ashamed and blush, who seek my life. Let those be turned back and abashed, who plot evil to me. Let them be as a chaff before the wind, with the messenger of Yahuwah driving on. Let their way be dark and slippery, with a messenger of Yahuwah pursuing them. For without cause they hid their net for me. Without cause they dug a pit for my life. Let ruin come upon him who unawares, and let his net that he hid catch himself. Let him fall into it, into ruin. But let my own being exult in Yahuwah. Let it rejoice in his deliverance. Let all my bones say, Yahuwah, who is like you? Delivering the poor from one stronger than he, and the poor and the needy from him who robs him. Ruthless witnesses rise up. They ask me that which I knew not. They reward me evil for good, bereaving my life. But I, when they were sick, put on sackcloth. I humbled my beings with fastings, and my prayer would return to my own bosom. I walked about as though he were my friend or brother. I bowed down mourning, as one mourning for a mother. But they rejoiced at my stumbling, and gathered together. The smiters gathered it against me, and I did not know it. They tore into pieces without season, with unclean ones, mockers at feasts. gnashing at me with their teeth. Yahuwah, how long would you look on? Rescue my being from their destructions, my only life from the lions. I give you thanks in the great assembly. I praise you among a mighty people. Let not my lying enemies rejoice over me, or those who hate me without cause wink their eye. For they do not speak peace, but they devise words of deceit against the peaceable ones of the land. And they open their mouth wide against me. They say, Aha, our eyes have seen it. This you have seen, O Yahuwah, do not be silent. O Yahuwah, do not be far from me. Stir up yourself and awake to my right ruling. To my cause, my Elohim and my master. Rule me rightly, O Yahuwah, my Elohim, according to your righteousness. And let them not rejoice over me. Let them not say in their hearts, Aha, our desire. Let them not say, We have swallowed him up. Let those who are rejoicing at my evil be ashamed and abashed together. Let those who are exalting themselves over me be clad in shame and humiliation. Let those who delight in my righteous cause shout for joy and be glad. And let them always say, Let Yahuwah be made great. Who is desiring the peace of his servant? And my tongue shall speak of your righteousness, your praise all day long. And so I think this is really, take it back from 17. Yahuwah, how long would you look on? Rescue my being from their destructions, my only life from the lions. I give you thanks in the great assembly. I praise you among a mighty people. Let not my lying enemies rejoice over me, or those who hate me without cause wink their eye. For they do not speak peace, but they devise words of deceit against the peaceable ones of the land. And they opened their mouths wide against me. They said, Aha, our eyes have seen it. This you have seen, O Yahuwah, do not be silent. O Yahuwah, do not be far from me. Stir up yourself and awake to my right ruling, to my cause, my Elohim and my master. Rule me rightly, O Yahuwah, my Elohim, according to your righteousness, and let them not rejoice over me. So, basically, those who hate me without cause, and they said, our eyes have seen it. Okay, and then in John 15, we're talking about verse 24, John 15:24. If I did not do among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin. But now they have both seen and have hated both me and my Father. But that the word might be filled which was written in their Torah, they hated me without a cause. So literally, this is David writing the Psalms how many hundreds of years ago, and he knows that they are going to hate Yeshua without a cause, and they will say, look, we've seen, and Yahuwah will say, I have seen, and he will be called upon, and he will not be silent, for they will get their judgment, and the followers of Yeshua will live on forever, and they will be rescued. Another thing that I just liked to read was, for without cause they hid their net for me. Without cause they dug a pit for my life. Let ruin come upon him unawares, and let his net that he hid catch himself. Yeah, Psalms 35, 7 and 8. Check that. And when the helper comes, whom I shall... Oh, we didn't do 69. We've done 69 before. I'm just going to hit that quizzle. That means quick in, like, New York speak. 69:4. Those who hate me without a cause are more than the hairs of my head. They are mighty who would destroy me. My lying enemies, what I did not steal, I restored. O Elohim, you yourself know my foolishness. I am worn out from my crying. My throat is dry. My eyes grow dim as I wait for my Elohim. Those who hate me without a cause are more than the hairs of my head. And when the helper comes, whom I shall send to you from the Father, the Spirit of the truth, who comes from the Father, he shall bear witness of me. But you also bear witness, because you have been with me from the beginning. I met a guy in Chick-fil-A today. I knew him, but I just happened to saw him, and he waved me down. And, you know, I definitely get caught up in the rat race of life. I'm a very go, go, go person. I always was, like, I used to smoke weed because it slowed me down to the pace of everybody who was around me because I'm that much up, right? And then I started drinking coffee. And now I'm drinking coffee at 8 o'clock at night, but I don't drink much coffee. Like, this is like my, I mean, this is a 16-ounce cup, and this is, like, I've probably had 32 ounces of coffee today, if that. 'Cause this is like 2/3 full, and this is my third one. Whatever. Who cares how much coffee I've had? Not a whole lot. And I am so far up. I am so much more up than I have ever been. And I think that I don't need the coffee because my slowing down will be reset to a normal pace without the coffee, right? So, like, I went from, like, if 0 was where I was supposed to be, slowed it down with the weed, stopped the weed, went to the coffee, now I'm plus 10. And I'm still just out of harmony with the spirit. And so where I'm going with this is that I saw this guy, I met this guy, and he waved to me. And it was just like, peaceful wave, you know? Like, he has no weight on him. And I love that about this guy. And he did a Bible study. He hosted the Bible study that I was at this past winter. And just the perfect man to do it. I don't think he's ever done drugs. Kind of guy that can keep beer in the fridge for months. And then our other friend tried to drink it during a Bible study. And this was like some import German beer. He takes it out of the hand of the guy. The fresh special beer, dumps it down the drain. He goes, nope, not during Bible study. Did not care. Didn't think twice about it. Just grabbed this special beer and poured it down the drain, saying, you will not do Yahuwah like that. Me, myself, I've witnessed to people over, you name it, I've witnessed to people over it. All kinds of drugs, every sin, I've preached over it. Baptized people in all different situations, all different accounts, different people from different places. And so this guy has a weightless peace to him. And I think he's right.